Welcome to On the Kerbs. I'm your host, Team Daily. This week, my guest comes from the world of W Series. Mariella Bailey is the team principal for the W Series Veloce racing team. Chadwick and Bruna Tomaselli are the current drivers for Veloce in 2021. We caught up recently to discuss how the season is going so far for the team, how important it is to create opportunities for women in motorsport, plans for the future, and much, much more. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Hi Mariella, thank you for being here today. First of all, how are you?
Thank you. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you. Now, the first question I always ask everyone who I talk to is, what got you into motorsport to begin with?
So I would probably say motorsport's my blood. I grew up in motorsport ever since I was born. Before I was born, my dad was a racing driver, and then ever since I've been alive, my dad has been involved in racing. My brother was a racing driver as well. My mum's always worked in PR and events in motorsport. So I think it's safe to say that it's been in my life ever since I literally popped out of the womb. So I just remember as a kid, you know, here I remember I said earlier, actually, I remember one of my first memories is hearing the sounds of my dad racing at Le Mans, the loud, sort of really intense engines. I actually heard one not long ago at Silverstone, and it was such a weird feeling for me. I was like, I haven't heard that kind of car since I was a toddler or like a 7-year-old or whatever. So and I just remember being sort of not necessarily dragged around, because God, it's such a privilege for me. But every weekend we were at another racetrack when my brother Jack was racing, or my dad was involved in racing, or my mum was doing some kind of event, and we were kind of taken as kids. So it's really been around in my life ever since day one. So that's kind of, I've gone off into different career paths, and somehow I keep finding myself back here. So I feel like it's meant to be. Yeah, exactly.
What was your dad racing in then?
So before I was born, he was a Formula One driver. I think in '88, I don't know the exact dates, to be honest with you, off the top of my head. He's an F1, and then did a lot of sports car, touring cars, things like that, really. So I think I've been exposed to pretty much every form of racing, apart from rallying. Well, now we have the Extreme E team. It's kind of a rally, but I haven't actually. Yeah, I'm getting closer to it, and then I will have all bases covered.
So quite nice there, because you're obviously now the new team principal for Veloce in W Series, another kind of freedom of sport as well. How's that all going for you?
Yeah, it's great. I'm absolutely loving it. You know, I think it's so exciting to be at racetracks. Obviously with COVID that we've just had, everyone's kind of been locked away, and now we're allowed to travel again a bit more, especially for work. So it's been amazing to be able to go to the races and be with Jamie and Bruna and the rest of the W Series team. Obviously, we just got back from Budapest, where we won, which has been fantastic. So I think I've had quite a good kickstart in my team principal role. We came, we came first and ninth in Budapest. So either way, in the top 10, which is brilliant. I'm absolutely loving it. You know, it's so great to be able to spend time with Jamie and Bruna. They're such great girls, and I've known Jamie for a while now, and to get to know Bruna has been brilliant. I think for me, obviously, we don't necessarily get involved in the engines and the cars. Well, I don't personally, because we have double our racing, run all the cars. So my role is very much an operations role at the moment, but we're kind of building on that and how that would develop over the next 4 rounds. But yeah, so it's just nice to sort of be there for the girls, be another female figure in the sport, and be sort of someone that they can lean on and try and help them perform to their best without getting necessarily involved in the engineering or mechanical side of things. So it's brilliant. I'm absolutely loving it. Sorry?
I'd say that worked out quite well in Hungary.
Yeah. So yeah, very good. Thank you. I'm loving it.
Yeah, that's the main thing. If you can do all that and you're loving every part of it, then perfect. So then you
for sure.
What's it like having Jamie and Bruna as your drivers then?
Brilliant. They're so professional. You really feel like you really are dealing with professional sportswomen. They're very focused at a race weekend, so I try and give them as much space as I can, really, and sort of let them come to me as and when they need me, and they always know that I'm there. and getting to know Bruna, because this is the first time I've ever really met her and dealt with her before. And she's great. You know, she's super keen to learn, listens, and is just a very excited racing driver. I would say she's really loving it. And obviously Jamie's just brilliant. Yeah. And so yeah, I mean, Jamie, as I said, I've known for quite a long time, so I've got a really good relationship with her, and it's just been great to get to know Bruna and understand sort of how her mentality, how she drives, how she gets herself prepped for a race weekend. Really hoping that we can get her to our offices in London soon as well. We've got a sort of F1 spec simulator here, so it'll be great to get her here and sort of get her on the sim. So just getting to know her better and getting to know her ways a bit more.
So not that you'd have to worry about her as such, but having that relationship with Jamie and knowing that she's had the series already in W Series and she won it, it's kind of nice to be able to she can just get on with things. You don't have to worry about her too much. So it's,
nice definitely. Yeah, I mean, Jamie definitely is she's very familiar with the series and the people, and I think the people that run the cars as well, Double R, she's raced with them in the past as well, so she's in a very comfortable, familiar environment. So I think it's great for me to be there for Bruna as well, as someone who she can lean on, especially as someone familiar, because I think she's still getting used to a lot of it, but you know, equally as great as each other.
And so you're saying getting familiar with it. Any nicknames for either of the two of them that you use in the paddock?
So we call Jamie Chadders. We just call her Chadders. Bruna, I haven't got a nickname for Bruna yet. I mean, I feel like I need to ease myself into that one. Maybe at the next round I'll ask her if she's got any nicknames, but she's just she's Bruna to me, and Jamie is Chadders.
Chadders, I like it. So Jamie, I mean, I don't want to tempt fate or anything. Thankfully I'm not a commentator, so I've got hopefully less of a curse. But she looks all right in terms of what she's doing to make herself double W Series champion.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea about other drivers on the grid that you'd maybe look towards if she did move up into Formula 2 or something? Because it's hard to know where you would go necessarily in terms
of course. To be honest with you, we always just sort of thinking about the next test, the next sim session, the next race, and we're only halfway through the season. So we definitely haven't spoken about it. Yeah, I think we've just got to cross that bridge when we get there. I'm massively superstitious because of the world that I've been brought up in as well. I mean, my dad is the most superstitious man I've ever met in my life. If I, put a brand new pair of trainers or shoes on the table, he goes mental. Like, I'm from a very, very much a superstitious family. So even the thought of even thinking of that before we've even jumped the next hurdle just freaks me out a bit. So, just trying to take the next, get ready for the next race in Spa and sort of see how we go from there. As I said, we're only halfway through the season, so I think we've got a bit of a way to go. But, fingers crossed if Jamie wins it or, Bruna or, we don't know what's going to happen. It could be a super exciting second half of the season. So let's see. But at the moment, I haven't got into that headspace yet.
I'll circle back around to that in a few months then.
Yeah, exactly.
So then what does a race weekend look like for a team principal?
So for me, as I said, not really involved in the engineering or car setup or anything like that at the moment. It's sort of arrive on track roughly the same time as the girls, which can depend. Schedule changes every day. Have a quick, if we're allowed to. The problem at the moment with COVID is that everyone's in their bubbles. So the drivers all have their own bubbles. So I don't necessarily spend a huge amount of face-to-face time with Jamie and Bruna, depending on where we are. So it's a bit difficult to be around them. But, just kind of, as I said, just being there for them. If Bruna needs something, she knows that I'm in the W hospitality unit, got my laptop there, I'm working from there, having meetings with sort of the comms team, marketing team, seeing, what we can do to really push Veloce as one of their racing teams. And it's more of a sort of operational networking weekend, I'd say. Having meetings with potential sponsors and partners for Veloce. It all sort of varies, but it can.
So being in the F1 paddock as well for that probably helps.
Yeah.
Bit, so.
Yeah, it definitely does. The only problem is that we can't mix paddocks, so we're not allowed to see anyone from the F1 paddock, and they're not allowed to see us. But it's just good to know that you've got the people that you want to be mixing with really in the same environment, in the same circle. And so yeah, that's how I'd say it looks at the moment.
Then some criticisms that W Series has gotten a little bit has been maybe to do with the racing, saying that in a couple of the races maybe DRS would be helpful with promoting overtaking or having tyres that don't take so long to warm up. Do you think any of that would be things to look at in the future, or would there be other things you?
Yeah, I mean, I think for sure. I think, you know, in the racing business, there's always things you can improve. I think W Series are doing a brilliant job with the car, the running of the car with Double R. You know, did DRS improve Formula One? Yes, it did. It made it more exciting. It gave it another aspect. So I think there's definitely things that we can improve. But you know, we're only in our second season second season of W Series, and I know that they're working on improvements in the background. They want this to be. It already is a success, but they want this to be bigger and better than it already is. Like F1 probably do every season. They're thinking, what can we do different? What can we do to spice things up? So I think, you know, we are here to innovate and push things further, which the series are already doing in the obvious aspect of it being a female championship. But I think the car and the tyres are in a fantastic spot, and I think everything's moving in the right direction. But of course, it'd be great to spice things up a bit with DRS, and you know, like it has done for Formula One. So I think there's no harm in pushing to see what we can do in the next couple of seasons. But right now, I think that we're in a really good place.
And just off the back of that, saying F1, they're always adding or changing places to go on the calendar. Would you like to see more races on the 2022 calendar, or would you rather go to different places?
I think more would be great and different. I think it would be fantastic to do Monaco. The history there is amazing. The circuit's just so cool. I think it would be such a brilliant thing to see the W Series, you know, girls line up on that grid. That would be, for me, a super exciting moment. Selfishly, Monza, because I love it. I think it's such a great circuit. I love going to Italy. And I think that it's just a fantastic place. So I think Monaco and Monza would be two that I'd love to add to the calendar next year if it was my decision. I just think Monaco would be amazing. Yeah.
So we've got Veloce as a team this year with the drivers, but kind of a team in some respects. Do you know if there's going to be a Constructors' Championship next year, or what the plans are for this team dynamic?
I don't really know. Obviously, we do speak closely with W Series, but this is the sort of first year they've had teams. I think the introduction of this team aspect that we've had this year is super exciting for W Series. What the series do moving forward, I can't really answer that. I'm not in those conversations, obviously, so I simply just don't know. But you know, I hope manufacturers are looking at the performances and the progress that W Series are making, and the performances that the girls are putting on, and the shows that they're putting. It's such an amazing thing for these girls to be around such an international audience, and I think that for that, and I think it's such a great platform for them that I hope that they can see, you know, how much an important thing this is, and see the performances, and see if hopefully it's something that manufacturers are looking at for the next couple of years or for next year. But I don't know the conversations that are going on in the background, to be honest. I just, fingers crossed, hope so, because I think it would be fantastic.
So I agree with you on that one. I think it'd be something. It's not that it's not a good thing at the moment. It's just, I think if you're coming into it, you've seen other motorsport, you think, oh, it's a team, but I'm not sure what
yeah, no, of course, yeah. No, I mean, I'm
in the same mood there as thinking that manufacturers and sponsors should have a look at this and jump on board, because I don't see why they haven't already in respects.
No, exactly. I think it's just, you know, slowly but surely building on it, and sort of getting teams in, and then hopefully next year they'll smash it with manufacturers and all sorts. But so far so good. I mean, we as a team are very happy with how everything is going, and it's been brilliant.
So then, your team principal of a team in W Series, which itself is a groundbreaking championship, do you see yourself as a role model for other women?
Yeah, I do, actually. I think that I sort of started, my first ever sort of job in motorsport was working on the Dare to Be Different campaign, which is now FIA Girls on Track, and that was a couple of years ago. And I think being involved in that really, and I was just sort of an event organizer in that. We used to get, I think it was about 5 or 6 schools, and take them to different karting tracks around England, and show them the different aspects of motorsport that they can work in. So you don't have to just be a racing driver. You can work in the business side of things, operational. You could be an engineer. You could be a mechanic. And I just remember seeing, you know, speaking to these girls when they turn up at the events and saying, you know, how do you feel? Is there anything that you already, after looking at the sort of schedule, that you're interested in? And they were quite shy and they weren't really sure. And then by the end of it, they're like, I want to be a mechanic. I want to be an engineer. I want to be this. And I just think that by being able to by doing this and showing, hopefully, you know, when young girls go with people to a Formula One race, or they watch Formula One with their dads at home, whatever, they can see, you know, a female team principal and female racing drivers and think, you know, just blue sky thinking, I can do that if I want. If she can do that, I can do that. So for me, I think it's, yeah, I do see myself as a role model. I hope that I can be a good role model to people, and just be a bit of an eye-opening experience to people, hopefully. So fingers crossed I can do a good job.
It's looking good so far, to be fair.
Yeah, I think I've had quite a good start. So let's see how the rest of the season goes.
I won't say anything. I'm not going to play with your superstition.
Yeah, let's not jinx anything, please.
So then, just a few fun questions to round up.
Sure.
What's a fun fact that people don't know about you?
I really am terrified of thunderstorms. It's really weird. I don't know whether in my last life I died in a thunderstorm or whatever, but I genuinely, when I hear thunder and lightning. Sorry?
Do you sing that song from Ted when the thunderstorm comes along?
No, I don't actually. I genuinely will get under my covers. It freaks me out. I don't know what it is. I was actually flying back from somewhere the other day, and we had they said, you know, we're going to have to fly through a storm. I'm not a nervous flyer. I love flying, and I actually was fine. But there is just something about thunderstorms that just, I can't stand it. I genuinely shake with fear. It's the weirdest thing in the world. I don't know anyone that hates thunderstorms as much as me. So that, and probably the fact that I hate going to the cinema. I hate going to the cinema. It's like if someone's like, do you want to go to the cinema? I'm like, absolutely not. I find it, I don't know. I'm quite a high.
Or is it films? Like, is it?
No, I can watch films. I can watch films at home. I don't like the fact that cinemas are just, well, even films. I think I just get bored really quickly. I think I've probably got some kind of ADHD. I'm super hyper. I can't really sit still for very long. So the thought of being stuck in a room with a load of people that I can't get out if I need to go to the loo or to get a drink, and I have to sit there for 2 hours. It's just, for me, it's a no-go. No thanks, not for me.
We won't put you in a cinema during a thunderstorm.
Yeah, that is my, you know, that is my absolute hell.
And so you kind of answered the next question, because I was going to ask what was the last film or TV show you watched, but I'm guessing you don't really do much.
So yeah, I actually all my friends say, you watch this TV show, you're watching Love Island, all the. I'm really not, no. But I have to say, I did start watching Clarkson's Farm last week. I watched 2 episodes. So I think I'm going to carry on with that one. I think it's quite, I love Jeremy Clarkson. I think he's hilarious. So I think that'll be a good one for me. I just haven't really been around that much to watch TV. So I'll settle down this week, watch Clarkson's, and I'll let you know how I get on with it.
Sounds good. I mean, it's a show that on paper shouldn't work, but it somehow does, and I'm loving it. So.
Yeah, I've heard it's brilliant. So I need to get into it now.
And finally, important question: what's the right way to eat an Oreo?
Oh, pull the top and the bottom off and eat the inside separately. For me, easy.
You're one of those ones.
Yeah, I'm one of those. I like to pace myself, eat it slowly. It's nothing worse than when you get to the last Oreo.
No, that always happens far too quickly in my experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. I want to thank you for your time here today, and I will wish you the best of luck for the rest of the W Series.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's been brilliant.
It was a pleasure chatting with Mariella. She really seems to have settled into her new role at Veloce with ease and is clearly loving every minute of it. It was definitely inevitable that she would end up working in motorsport, and from the way she speaks and works, I think we're going to see a lot more from her in the future. I want to thank her again for coming onto the show, and I wish her and the Veloce team the best of luck for the rest of the 2021 season. Join me again soon when I'll be chatting to another famous face from the world of motorsport. In the meantime, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and check out the other videos on the On The Kerbs YouTube channel. Away from YouTube, you can find me over on DriveTribe, and feel free to follow me on Instagram at t.albers.daily.drivetribe. You can also find me over on GP Grandstand TV, where I'm part of the weekly podcast. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you again next week for the next episode.